I'd love to go back and just go through, because one of the things that's a bit not as clear for a lot of folks thinking about going towards the path of building a cohort is essentially the step by step. I know Maven has their own step by step, but what are certain things that you've seen specifically that has helped you, and just essentially what have those step by step processes been?
Yeah. So I think first there's kind of like you were talking about earlier, there's like, what really feels like play for me, but might feel like work for other people.
Mm,
So it's like, where is that intersection of like interest, but also value? Like if there's a Venn diagram of like all the stuff I'm interested in, all the stuff I want to teach, there's maybe another one of like, what, okay, of all the stuff I want to teach, like, what are people getting the value out of? So I think
mm,
like step one is kind of doing a deep dive into figuring out like, okay, what is my topic and how specific or general do I want to get? Do I just want to have a course on product management? That's super broad. I went in a little heavier with product discovery, but there's a lot of folks that do much more specific. Like how do you
mm.
break into, a big tech company as an AI product manager with no AI experience, like stuff like that, where it's like hyper specific. So that's kind of like step one is, thinking about just what do you want to do? And then step two is really figuring out like, okay, is there interest in this? So that could be something like at Maven, there's a landing page tool. So you can build your own landing page and share it out. Or they sometimes recommend doing like a pre-course interest survey. So it's like, hey, thinking about teaching this thing, but get like a survey out there. So there's some sense of like, have your first idea, but then quickly get an artifact out there, whether that's a landing page or a survey to test it in the market to see if it's resonating with you. Um, and then you can also use that artifact to share it with friendly. So I certainly shared it with some friends, some strangers about like, hey, here's my landing page. Just what do you think about it? It's a little bit harder than maybe a normal product test because it's actually you. It's like,
Right.
hey, give me some feedback. Oh, I agree. Like, do I sound like I'm full of shit?
Oh,
And
yeah.
and so that took a little getting used to. But once you can get over that, it's very tremendous. And one of the best ways you can ask someone to give you feedback is to have them record a Loom or record like use like whatever video thing, and just have them like, hey, don't look at my landing page. Open it up the first time, and I just want you to record yourself talking out loud as you walk through it. And giving that just will give you so much of a sense of like what's in people's head, what's interesting, what's working, what's not. I'm a big fan of that kind of method. So once you get the ball rolling with, hey, like what do I want to teach, and two, I've got some like process in place to kind of either get a survey or my landing page out for feedback. You can kind of go from there and refine that way. So that was kind of my method. And then of course have a giant Notion page where you're throwing all your ideas and all your
Perfect.
different, course exercise ideas and just all the things that could come out of your head. So that was kind of my process for building it out.
And it's super, super important because as you think about any product, anyone that has built good product, they've been super user centric. They've been focused on who the user is from the very beginning. And even with this podcast, the first thing that I did was reach out to 5 people. I'm like, hey, this is what I'm
Mm,
thinking about. You are the target that I'm trying to work for. What do you think about this podcast? What do you think about the idea? What do you think about the guests that I want to have on this podcast? And the feedback that I've received is what I've used to be able to grab these questions, right? To then ask and go back and forth. So it's super, super important. I think that's the best 2-step right there. If we could sum it down to just, you
yeah.
have an idea, fantastic. Get out, start testing it. And
And the
testing
sooner
is
the better.
so easy. Yeah, the sooner the better.
Yeah.
And testing is incredibly easy. There's 100 tools to build a website. There's
Right.
literally over 100 tools to build a website. There's so many different pathways of building out websites, of launching a curriculum, which is, in a way, we did that as well at Workit, where we had a bit of a curriculum and we just started getting out there. Getting out there for us meant just reaching out to people on LinkedIn. I mean, like, hey,
Mm,
you don't know us, but we're this company that's trying to help product managers accelerate their careers. Do you have 5 minutes? Do you have 10 minutes? Do you have 30 minutes? Some people give us 45 minutes to a full hour because they just really enjoy the conversation. And so you just never know where those conversations can go and what you can learn from people. The best thing you can do is just get out there and start talking.
yeah. And I'd say too that at least for me, like talking to people about your idea, even if you're not getting like the feedback that you want, like you're getting critical
Mm,
feedback, it's still very energizing. Like it's still very motivating. And then you get to the ideas that they do like or the things that they want to see. And that's super energizing. So from a like, hey, how do you get motivated to keep moving forward perspective? One of the best things you can do is just if you have that cadence or cycle of actively sharing your ideas and getting feedback, like that is motivating in of itself.
yeah. Yep. Couldn't agree more.